Podcasting is networking. Café and Networking Podcast promotes entrepreneurs, startups, authors, business experts throughout the world. I'm Tom Reaoch, known as the King of Networking, connecting people and speaking from my studio in Vinhedo, São Paulo, Brazil. And today we talk with Ashleigh Rennie, joining us from London, England. Ashleigh Rennie is a feminist, a copywriter witch, head conversion copywriter at the Story Team. As a conversion copywriter and marketing specialist, she helps purpose-driven entrepreneurs and business owners create persuasive copy, converting prospects into buyers, specializing in web pages, landing pages, lead magnets, and email funnels. So Ashleigh, what advice would you give to women so that they can start exploring their voices?
Hi, Tom. Thank you so much for having me. I think there's two main things that I would advise and suggest, and this is just based on my own journey and the journey of women in my social network and my professional community. I think it's really important to know who you're talking to when you start to explore your voice, and make sure that the people that you're speaking to are going to resonate with what you have to say. And this is just in the initial phase, because very often as women, when we start to find our voices, it can be hard and it can be scary. And I think in the initial phases of that, we want to talk to people that are going to listen and that we know will resonate with us. And then you can start moving into maybe areas that are a little bit less friendly once you feel a bit more confident and established. So think about who you're talking to. And the second thing is that I think very often as women, we are constantly seeking permission to use our voices. And so my second piece of advice is that I would surround myself with women who are already very confident and comfortable with their voices. That's one of the reasons I love LinkedIn so much as a platform, is because I've surrounded myself with lots of different kinds of people, not only the people who reflect myself back at me, because that's also problematic, but I am connected with women on LinkedIn who are very confident in their voices, and that gives me confidence in my own voice, and it gives me permission to sort of speak about the things that I want to speak about. So yeah, I think those are my two top tips. I have tons more that I could say, but I don't want to get too deep into it. I think for me as a woman who is also a feminist, it's very important that we stay true to who we are, and we stay true to what we believe in, and we're not here to smile for anyone or to do what other people tell us to do. We are here for our own life experience, and we need to keep reminding ourselves of that.
Well, I agree. I've seen that, not only here in Brazil, but other places in the world. And what you're mentioning, is a women's community. And
exactly.
in the States, I've seen that for years now of self-help type communities, but not only self-help, venture capital, investment companies, and networking groups that are feminine. Yeah. So women helping women inspiring women, women in business to want to do business just with women, and are very successful in that. And other parts of the world haven't gotten there yet. So I do agree with you. And LinkedIn is a good place to reach out and find examples, models of success along that line. Because I've seen that too. And here in Brazil specifically, women sort of, they may want to use their voice, but domestic violence here is incredibly difficult. Women ask permission. Even if they get the permission, they might die. Their spouse or husband may kill them. Don't want them to even start a job. So why don't you get it? But they don't want it. So it's the financial trap that many women unfortunately fall into. So it's getting the voice out. And what you mentioned about scary is deep. And I can understand it's a challenge for women all over the world. In some places deeper, others less so. But you have to get the voice out. You have to speak
Absolutely.
or write. Something has to get out there.
Absolutely. And writing is another way, that's another way that you can start to find your voice. And I know when I started my business, I was writing a lot. I wrote a blog and I just kept writing, and even stuff that was a little bit scary to write about, and you sort of grow in confidence and you get feedback from people. And just on what you say, just very briefly, I know we don't have a lot of time, but that thing you mentioned about finances, one of the deep values I hold in my business as a copywriter for mainly female business owners is that as women, we should be creating wealth for ourselves as much as we humanly can, because wealth creates autonomy and freedom. And I think a lot of women are afraid of talking about money even, and it's really important that we start to have conversations about money and wealth for women that allow women to have more autonomy in the world.
Well, I want to commend you with what you do, and I've also seen on your Podmatch profile, we're not only talking about women, obviously, as a copywriter, as a speaker, you also help men understand the other side of the same coin, because many times I see that, even in my groups, networking groups and associations that I take part in, which are unfortunately generally men, men don't know how to reach out to women in a business or commercial sense. It's difficult. They haven't trained themselves, and it's difficult. So to help a male business person understand how to communicate better with women is also an opportunity, and I see you've taken that.
Yes, and I think that is a whole deep conversation in and of itself. But I think that remembering our humanity is really the place to start, and whether we're male or female, we are ultimately human.
Right.
And that's really important to remember when we enter into conversation with anybody.
Right.
To listen and to treat people with respect. We can have a whole conversation around feminism and but I just think to start off with, let's remember that we are human, and we should treat people the way we want to be treated. That's ultimately what it's about. I agree,
but I mentioned that because at the Story Team, which is a company, obviously you don't just work with women, you work with people looking to become successful.
Yes, although the bulk of my clients are women. They are. Yeah.
But if I ring your bell, you'll help me.
I'll help you so long as we hold the same values around certain things.
Oh, well, I think that's fair. Okay.
Yeah.
So how can our audience find you?
So you can visit my website, thestoryteam.org, and I'm on LinkedIn, Ashleigh Rennie on LinkedIn. I absolutely love LinkedIn. As I've said, I just find it a great space for lots of generous conversations, and I learn a lot there, and I love meeting people there. So I would say those are the top two places.
Very good. So thank you for your time and sharing today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, and for our listeners, it's Ashleigh Rennie. It's Ashleigh, the first name, Ashleigh, and the last name Rennie is Rennie. Ashleigh Rennie, find her on LinkedIn, where she loves connecting with people. Café and Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information on their website, focusmi.com. Thanks for listening. Until the next time here at Café and Networking Podcast.